Hare Krishna, Catherine. How are you?
Hare Krishna.
What's your greeting up in the Himalayas?
Uh, Hello.
Oh, hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello.
That's fun.
Um, yeah. I mean, to local people, they'll often say namaste or namaskar, and that
Yeah.
will be the greeting. But yeah, it's generally just to each other. Hi. Yeah,
And
it's good.
when you lived up there, what was your facility? Did you guys have like buildings and stuff or?
There's a big building which is like the satsang hall. And in fact, a year before Swamiji left his body, he created a new, more enclosed and quieter, actually, satsang hall that's really nice.
Oh,
Um, and then other than that, everybody, though, we all just rented our own places locally from local landlords. And some
oh,
people had deluxe places like on the river, and some people had small little mountain huts kind of thing. So there
oh,
was a bit of
cool.
a kind of variety going on there. And so it was very free. It's not, I think a lot of people, when they think of an ashram, they think of very disciplined, everyone's getting up at the same time and chanting together. It wasn't like that. Really, we all did our own practice in the way that worked for us.
Oh,
And
cool.
that could be quite a wide variety of lifestyles in a way that people were
Cool.
leading there. But the focus for everything was always the satsang. And so that's why people were there. You were free not to go and you were free to leave or to arrive later. It was Swamiji always, his main emphasis was freedom, actually. Not in a way that would be disruptive or would annoy local people or anything like that, but within respectful boundaries, let freedom guide you, kind of.
Uh-huh.
Not to force people to be coming to something or doing something out of a sense of obligation, but actually voluntarily from a sense of I really want to do this. And
Mm,
that was definitely what was happening there.
that's
So
cool.
yeah, it's very cool.
For new listeners, Catherine lived in the Himalayas for 15 years, studied Vedic teachings, which is kind of a catchphrase for Eastern philosophy written in Sanskrit, which
Mhm,
is old, like Bhagavad Gita. You studied Gita, Upanishads, like Sri
uh-huh.
Upanishads,
Upanishads, Yoga Sutras,
Yoga
Patanjali,
Sutras.
Yoga
Uh-huh.
Darshan, yeah. Light of knowledge, Vivek Chudamani. But I think, as I said last time, even though I did study all those things with people there in my own time, and Swamiji, so many of the themes that would be weaving in and out of satsang were all in those texts too. But by
Uh-huh.
the time I was there, he wasn't kind of saying, okay, today we're focusing on the Upanishads or anything like
I
that. It was
see.
much more, we're having satsang and whatever comes up, that's what comes up. And
I see.
it's all truth, it's all being directed with the purpose of liberation, and that's what's happening.
Nice. And which Upanishad? The Sri Upanishad?
Swamiji did it. Have I got it here? I should do. It might just be online. He translated nine of the principal Upanishads, so those
Oh,
were the ones, including Isha and Kena, Kata, Mandukya. I think they're fairly regularly considered to be like the principal ones,
I see. Yeah,
the
yeah.
ones who do. Yeah.
I studied pretty extensively Sri Upanishad.
Mm.
My son also, we memorized a lot of the verses, and even we had a very lovely journey to the Rishikesh,
Hmm.
and we studied and memorized with a group of people the first two verses from the Sri Upanishad. I think I'm getting the understanding maybe that y'all didn't memorize verses as much as
No,
my group. We
no,
were
not
really into
generally.
memorizing.
Except
Yeah.
for, as I said last time, there were seven Gita verses from chapter two of the Bhagavad Gita that
Uh-huh.
we all memorized and we would all sing together
Mm.
quite a lot. And some people, particularly people with beautiful voices, or just people who were really drawn to the Sanskrit, would memorize like the
Oh,
Hanuman
cool.
Chalisa, or, they would memorize a lot.
Yeah.
It was never particularly my thing, but I loved listening to it. So,
Yeah. Well, I lived in the as I've said, and this is for all the new people that's come, thank you
Yeah.
for coming to our podcast. We're going to talk about the Bhagavad Gita and most of these, but who else knows whatever we're going to talk about? That's what we're going to talk about. So I lived in the ashram for a while. I don't know, 7, 8 years as a solid brahmachari, celibate monk. And back in the 80s, there was no social media, there were no phones, there was no
Yeah.
videos, there was no screens, there were no computers, there was nothing but books. And the being young men, I mean, I joined when I was 18, so I was like pumped full of youth. And all the other young guys, they had this like internal culture that if you spoke anything, you had to quote and reference the Sanskrit. Otherwise, they'd call you out on it because everybody's so, I don't know, celibacy and being
I
young.
see.
Super,
All the energy goes into
yeah,
into
just,
duels, Gita-verse duels or something.
yeah. And so if you were given class or something and you said something, a brahmachari may say to you, "What quote that verse?" And if you couldn't, you were like, "Pfft." So, so we would memorize verses all
Mm,
day, every day. I
amazing,
remember
amazing.
sitting in the kitchen cutting vegetables for a big feast, and we would
Hmm.
tape on the wall Sanskrit verses that we were just repeating over and over. So obviously, I have not made an endeavor to memorize a verse in 20 years, but because I did that as a youth, I often will be reading something and I'll go, "Oh, I know this." And I know all
Mm,
the Sanskrit, and though
mm.
I haven't looked at it since I was 20 years old. And
Nice,
so
amazing. Yeah.
that's the beauty of these mantras is that once
Yeah.
they're in there,
It is true. Once they're in, they really are in. Yeah.
they
Yeah.
don't come out. They say
Mm-hmm.
that Krishna, he's Tribhanga, threefold bending form.
Mm-hmm.
And what he's like a corkscrew. Once he gets on your heart, you can't get him out.
Nice.
Okay, so we've got two verses we're going to go over
Mm-hmm.
today. You've got one,
Mm-hmm.
I got one.
Mm-hmm.
I went first last time, and
Yeah.
so I think
Sure.
ladies first this
Sure.
week.
Okay. I will go for mine. So my verse is from chapter 9, which I love, chapter 9 of the Gita, and it's
Mm.
verse 18. And the Nicholas Sutton, oh, well, let me try and I'm not going to be able to compete with you, but I will slowly read the Sanskrit of it. Gati Bharta Prabhu Sakshi Nivasaha Sharanam Suhṛt Prabhavaha Pralayaha Stanam Nidhanam Bijam Avyayam. So the English translation of that is I am the goal, the sustainer, the Lord, the witness, the abode, the refuge, and the friend. I
Mm.
am creation, destruction, and maintenance. I am the treasury, and I am the unfading seed.
Mm.
And it's just so all encompassing. Like
Mm.
anything you might look for in life, that divine being is already behind that, the substance of that, the manifester of that, the enjoyer of that, which I think your verse then goes
Mm.
on to say.
Mm.
Um, so I just love some of these words in here. And I was teaching Upanishads actually recently, and somebody said that they found it difficult when they heard the word God, because for them, God was something that made them feel small and separate and as if under the rule of some kind of tyrant or something.
Mhm.
And I get that people might have that sense. And so what I love about this is Krishna's talking about himself. And yes, he is that which is vast and great and all powerful. And yet, he's you, he's the closest possible to you. He's your very own being. He's your friend. He's the most intimate. Like, there's
Mhm.
nothing sweeter and dearer.
Mhm.
So it's all of it. And so I love that the way it just kind of brings it all together.
Mhm.
Because I think people will tend to have an idea about what the creator must be, or we'll categorize things according to our normal mind's categories of what is it distant or is it close? And it's no, this can't be categorized in any of our mind's categories because actually it's the very source of all of these categories. It's the one that creates the being. It's the mind, it's the whole of creation, and it's the destruction. I think that part is so kind of interesting and important too. So I think I'll just go through some of the word by word. It's kind of a list in a way. So I'm the goal. It's like such a perennial question, what's the purpose? What's it all for? What's the purpose in life? Where am I heading for? What should I be really thinking I'm doing in life? And the beautiful thing is he's saying, I am the goal. I'm where it all leads to. But you don't have to think of that as being in the future sometime. It's rather the goal is with you here and now. And life can just be about expressing yourself as that, not reaching somewhere, not striving for something, but living in a way that's aligned with that, with the fact that you're already there, like you're already that. And so you can just live with a kind of joy and freedom of that. So that word I love, that's the gatir, I guess. Bharta is the supporter. I'm not so familiar with that word. Do you know the breakdown of anything?
Yeah, it's a great word. Bara, like
Is that like Bharat, like
yeah,
India?
Bara.
Ah, right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, of
And the
course.
word
Yeah.
actually means to carry something.
Yeah.
So
Mm,
Bharata, who was,
of
the
course. Yeah.
emperor of
Mm,
India,
mm,
carried the
mm,
whole civilization. So the
mm.
word Bharata is now kind of the name of India in
Yeah.
Sanskrit,
Yeah.
and it
Yeah.
means to carry.
Ah, nice, beautiful. Yeah, so it's that which sustains everything, which is carrying us. We think we're doing all this on our own, but no, we're actually just being
Hmm.
carried by that pure beingness, that underlying the support of everything.
Hmm.
And then Prabhu, Lord. Again, people can interpret it with their minds as something separate that they feel a sense of devotion or love to. But actually, the fact that all of these words are listed together shows it's not other than you. It is your very own being. So we find it and we worship it by going within, not by projecting some idea. Although, even if we decide to project some idea, that'll still work because it's the idea too, and it's the projection, and it's you that's thinking you're doing it. So
Hmm.
it's still any intention that we have, it leads to that if we do it sincerely.
Hmm.
Sakshi is that witness consciousness. And, witness can seem as if distant or cold sometimes, I think, but actually, the consciousness isn't separate from what it's witnessing. The witness is the underlying knowingness of everything.
Hmm.
And it's our very own knowingness. It's you knowing this, listening to this here and now.
Hmm.
Um, then nivasaha, abode. It's your home. And the
Hmm.
next word along with it, sharanam. I love the word sharanam. It just,
Hmm.
I don't know, there's something about the sound of it that conveys its meaning. It's the home of peace,
Hmm.
which again is you, is not outside of you, but it's that sense of when you reach that complete refuge from that which seems to be stressful and difficult and painful, all of that, when you reach that, you never leave it. It's always, always there. So whatever you're doing, you're still home. You're always, always home. And it's the home of pure love, really.
Hmm.
And suhṛt, friend. So I'm looking at this, and you're better at Sanskrit than me, but Su is always that highest, and Hrit must be from Hridaya, heart. So it's like
Hmm.
that which is dearest to your heart. And it's such a kind of intimate word as well, the most dear.
Hmm.
And the one who, you think of a friend as being loyal, that's a great
Hmm.
quality somewhere, and being always there for you. This is the ultimate friend because literally always there for you.
Hmm.
Absolutely never absent.
Hmm.
Always welcoming. The moment you turn towards that, it's welcoming you. And again, so these next words are creation, destruction, and sthanam, the kind of stability, the maintenance of the world. So these can sometimes be thought of as the gods of Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva as
Hmm.
the creator, the sustainer, and the destroyer.
Hmm.
But it just, everything is encompassed in it. There's no sense that anything in the cycle of appearance is wrong, that
Hmm.
anything, that any part of it shouldn't be happening. All of it is contained within the whole, within the vision of oneness. Um,
Hmm.
Nidanam, the treasury, I believe. Do you know that word, nidanam?
Dana means wealth.
Oh, wealth, nice, yeah.
Hmm.
Mm. Yeah, the store
Dhanaraj.
of values, that which is the of the highest value. Nice.
Yeah, Arjuna is sometimes called Dhanaraj
Oh
because
yeah.
he went out and got gold from an old
Mm,
sacrifice to do another sacrifice. Dhanaraj, or the king of wealth. Yeah.
nice. And
Mhm.
bijam avyayam. So avyayam, imperishable, never destroyed. Bijam, seed. So it's the source which never loses itself. It always remains as it is. The
Mhm.
whole of creation can be manifested and apparently live and apparently be destroyed, but that source just remains identical all of the time as the holder of all of it. You know,
That's such
it's
a
just
great
that has all
Be-
of it, doesn't it?
Bijam Avyayam. What a
Yeah,
great thing.
yeah,
The
yeah.
seed of
Mm.
everything.
Yeah, so I think I've probably said we can chat about it, but
Mhm. Yeah, it's a lovely verse. You said in the
mm,
beginning, which is something that's so incredibly important, my God, and that is when you say God, we're
mm.
using a word set in English, which
Yes,
comes,
this is the issue, yeah.
yeah, it comes from a philosophy that doesn't match. And I don't
Mm,
need to qualify this every time I say it, but when I mean Vedic teaching, I mean
mm-hmm,
specifically
mm-hmm,
this
mm-hmm,
type of philosophy,
mm-hmm,
which does not really
mm.
include Buddhism and such. This Vedic teaching, God is just such a different,
Yeah.
much bigger
Mm-hmm,
thing
mm-hmm.
than that word
Yeah.
entails. That word is
Yeah,
like a
totally.
very petty kind of
Yeah,
tyrant.
yeah. So I try and remember if I'm talking to people who are less familiar, I try not to use the word God. But
Mhm.
sometimes it kind of comes out. But it's just that sense of not ever being something other than your own divine being, your own
Yeah.
essence, really.
Yeah. I have a lot of long conversations with one of my sons who loves to philosophize. And the concept comes up a lot. Do you believe in God? And the answer
Mm,
is no, because belief entails a, a
mm,
like an image or an
yes,
idea of
right. Yeah.
something which is separate than you that you
Yeah.
say, like, do
Yeah.
you believe in Bigfoot? Do you believe that
Mm-hmm.
there in the California hills there's
Mm-hmm.
like an ape that walks around? Do
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
believe in things that you don't experience? This is not that because God in this philosophy and this practice, the sadhana, you experience. There's
Yes,
no belief.
totally. So it's actually God believing through you. If you believe in God, it's
Yeah.
God. It's the faith of God coming through. Really, it's not something other than that.
Yeah. In the Gita, Krishna always is talking about the yogis. Yoginam
Mm,
api sarvesham, this and
mm,
that, and yoga means to connect. At
mm,
some point, Arjuna calls Krishna O yogi. He calls him a yogi
mm,
because Krishna also, if we're connecting with Krishna through
mm-hmm,
awakening, Krishna's connecting to us through awakening.
mm-hmm,
He's
mm-hmm,
also a yogi. We're
mm,
one thing. How cool is that?
mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
So lovely. So much like sweetness.
So much sweetness,
Yeah.
vastness and sweetness combined.
Yeah.
It blows our minds with the scale and then comes to the closest thing that you know, and it's found within. Yeah.
Yeah. Your verse says, creation, maintenance, and destruction. And that
Mm,
seems
mm,
so vast. And you think of universes exploding. And then
mm,
at the same verse, it's suhṛtam, which means not the heart, like the beating heart, but like
mhm,
your dearest thing, the
mm,
thing, the person that
mm.
you're most dear to. And it's not just hritam, but suhṛtam, like the sweetest
Yeah,
of the friends.
yeah, yeah. Above all, yeah.
Yeah, how
Mm,
lovely. So
mm.
lovely.
It is beautiful, isn't it? I
Yeah.
think that word's in your verse too, isn't it?
Yeah, so I'm going to share my screen and
Oh, I could have shared my screen next time.
that's okay. Do you see my verse here?
Yep, yep.
Okay. Hopefully it's recording it.
Hmm.
So this is one of the first verses I ever memorized. So I really know this one well. And so when you chose your verse, it
Mm.
sounded almost identical to this
Mm.
one. And I thought we can do a little theme.
Yeah.
Some of the words are the same, like this one has
Mm.
suhridam in it, right?
Hmm.
How lovely.
Mm.
So this verse of 529, it is very similar to what you were saying. I don't know, I can kind of bring this up like this. And if you want to look up the Gita online, this Vedabase IO has the Gita
Yeah, great.
in Sanskrit. Super nice.
Mm.
So this verse is bhoktāram yajña tapasam
Hmm.
sarvaloka maheshwaram suhridam sarvabhutanam gyatfamam shantim richati. And this says bhoktāram, like bhokta or bhaja means to eat. And so bhok means to eat. And Ram, like we know Ram, the character Ram from the
Hmm.
Ramayana, it actually
Hmm.
means to enjoy, be happy,
Hmm. Mm.
like be pleasing, please.
Hmm.
And so this word also is used a lot like Atmaram. I don't know
Mm.
if that's a familiar word. The person
Hmm.
who's self-satisfied,
Mm.
like a yogi who has made that awakening and is satisfied with the self is called Atma Rama,
Mm.
like the enjoyer of the self. So this is Bhoktāram.
And
The
Ram itself can also be used as a mantra, can't it? Just the word
yeah,
Ram.
some people
Yeah,
just say Ram.
yeah.
Ram. Yeah.
Hmm.
And like Hare Krishna mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama,
Yes,
Hare
yeah.
Hare Ram, meaning a name for the divine who is not only the enjoyer of all things, but the source of all enjoyment, the source of pleasantness and peace and joy. Like that verse you had there, bijam avyayam, these beej, the little seed of everything. So even happiness and joy, it comes from Ram. So
Mm.
this is Bhoktāram, the enjoyer of, or the beneficiary,
Hmm.
the receiver of yajña and tapa. Yajña being all sacrifices, all offerings, and tapa being all kinds of austerities. So if you fast, if you're vegetarian, if you're sober, if you go and study in the mountains under a guru, if you do meditation, all these things is under the category of tapa. So Krishna is the beneficiary of all yajna and all tapa. And then this line, Sarva Loka, all planets. Loka means all, like planets.
Hmm.
Sarva is all of them.
Mm.
Maha Ishvara. Maha means great, and Ishvara means the Lord. So the great supreme Lord of all planets, of all things, not just planets like globes, but places like Laguna
Realms,
Beach,
kind of.
like the
Mm.
UK, and even our
Yeah.
own body and our own mind is also a loka.
Yeah, those subtle realms that we
Yeah.
don't even know about. All of that too.
Oh, from top to bottom.
Yeah, yeah.
There's a beautiful story in the Bhagavatam about Vishnu who appears as a little dwarf Brahmana who Bali Maharaj is doing a yajna fire yajna with his guru. And when he finishes the yajna, he'll be the Lord of all the universe. And the gods didn't like that. So they went to Vishnu
Mm.
and they said, help. And so Vishnu said, okay, okay, I'll come. And so he came as a little dwarf Brahmana and he showed up at the yajna. And Bali looked at him, very beautiful, brahmachari. All he had was a little water pot and an umbrella and the clothes
Mhm.
that he was wearing. And Bali turned to him and said, what do you want? I'm the king of everything. Once I pour this last bit of ghee, I will be the king of everything. You can have
Mhm.
anything you want. And he said, all I want is 3 steps of land. That's it. And he's like, you're so small. Your steps are
Mhm.
like, beep, beep,
Mhm.
beep. I can give you planets. I can give you. And he said,
Mhm.
that's all I want. So
Mhm.
Bali said, okay. And his guru, Shukracharya, said, no, 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 no. This is Vishnu. He's going to take away everything. And Bali thought, if it's Vishnu, then I should give him everything in his heart. He is a descendant of Dhruva Maharaj. And so he said, sure, you can have 3 steps of land. And so in the Bhagavad Purana, it tells the story where the very first step, he stepped over the entirety of the material universe,
Oh yeah, amazing.
kicked a
Mm.
hole in the edge of the universe, and the Ganga came through. The
Mm.
next step, why I'm telling the story is because of what you
Mm.
just said. He stepped over all the subtle places, the heavenly regions, the subtle realms where even like people with subtle bodies live, the mind, the senses, the intelligence, the false ego, stepped over everything. So in 2 steps, he took everything. And so then he said to Bali, where am I going to put my next step? You made a promise to me. I'm a Brahmana. You can't not give to a Brahmana. You promised. And Bali said, okay, put your step right here. And he gave his own self. He surrendered to him.
Mm.
He put his
Nice.
step there. And now Vishnu had everything. So, isn't that
Mhm.
a lovely story?
Beautiful, really
Yeah.
beautiful.
Tri Vikrama, 3 steps. Isn't that
Mm.
nice? Trivikram. Okay, so Sarvaloka Maheshwaram, the Lord of all, like this word Mahesh. Sometimes Shiva is called Mahesh,
Yes, also, yeah.
Maha Ishvara. And then again, this beautiful word, Suhṛdam. Hrida means the heart, and Su means the best place, like the essence of it. So with the best friend, here it's said the benefactor, but many places I see it's called best friend. Sarvabhutanam, all living entities, all things that exist alive. Bhuta would be ants, people, trees, whales, like that. And then this last line, which is really lovely. I spent all morning thinking about this. Going backwards, this says one achieves he, she, it. T means he, she, it.
Hmm.
Richa means to achieve. So he, she, it achieves shanti, peace.
Peace.
When gya, knowledge, that person knows, having known me,
Mm.
one attains peace. And what
Beautiful.
is it that you know? That Krishna is the bhoktāram, the receiver of all yajñas and tapas. He is the Maheshwara of all places, and he is the best friend.
Hmm.
How lovely is that?
Yeah. And I'm just thinking about, because Yajna comes up quite a bit in the Gita. I think it is
Yeah.
chapter 5, isn't it? That it talks about Yajna, because Yajna normally, the literal translation is sacrifice or sort of as a
Yeah.
ritual, but actually, Krishna, over a few verses, kind of says some people do Yajna by inhaling and offering their breath to the inside and exhaling and offer it to the outside. And some do it by chanting and some do it by study. And so
Yeah.
really any activity we do for the purpose of refining our
Yeah.
our minds to become one with that is yajna, I always think. So
Yeah, very well said.
that's
Anything that's like your path,
mm,
your offerings, your
Yes.
meditation, your
Yeah.
study, this
Mm.
Gita study. This is all yajna because we're offering our time and our attention, our mind. We could be
Mm-hmm.
surfing our phones or
Mm-hmm.
something
Mm-hmm.
else,
Mm-hmm.
but instead we're taking time
Mm-hmm.
to
Yeah.
study the Gita and think about Krishna and think about the self. And so that's
Mm-hmm.
all yajna. And so it's a really amazingly beautiful thing. And one thing that is so important that I always come back to, it seems to be kind of like the dessert of it all, is that whatever whatever level of spirituality in this Vedic teaching that you take up means you're a householder, you have lots of kids, so you have a family, you give
Mm-hmm.
donations. So you're a
Yeah.
yogi and you live in a cave and you
Yeah. Yeah.
eat a handful of chickpeas or whatever, and everything in between. The conclusion of all of those things is this oneness where God is not out there, somewhere that we have to find.
Mm.
We're one with, and then within it, that beautiful sweetness, that love, that divine loving suhṛtam,
Mm.
that beauty that it's your best friend.
Mm.
It's just so nice.
It is. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's so like it's so satisfying. It's
Mm.
atmaram, satisfying to the soul.
Mm-hmm.
What's your
And it's
thought?
really just that transformation, because in those Havan fire ceremonies, they traditionally put herbs into the fire. Did
Mhm.
you, was that part of Hare Krishna?
Yeah,
Yeah, you did do those. Yeah, so, and the sense is you offer something that seems to be kind of physical, material, and gross, and through the purification of the fire, it becomes subtle and it's received by the divine being. And so I think whatever practice we do, even if it's just, as I said before, like Krishna says, just breathing or just offering any kind of thought that's uncomfortable to us, if we just offer it to that, then it
yeah.
becomes subtler, right? And the divine power kind of transforms it, and that's the power of yajna.
Yes, yeah, for sure. At the end of the Gita, Krishna says that those who study this great conversation between us, they worship me with their intelligence.
Mm, mm,
And then he said, those who speak the Gita to others, that's the highest thing. There's nothing more higher from his perspective than that. And
mhm,
so you'd think, wow, you mean after 18 chapters of all this stuff and the meditation and the self and the universes and all these things, Krishna concludes with a very simple statement that if you just study this conversation and you speak about it, that's the highest
that's it. Yeah,
that's the highest yajna,
yeah,
tapa,
yeah, yeah,
puja,
yeah.
worship, all of
It's
it.
true. It's all of it. Yeah.
How
All of
cool.
that's what I love about, the so-called different paths of yoga. They all basically meld into just
Yeah.
think of me. And that's it, basically.
Yeah, make it very simple.
Mm,
Just
hmm
think of me. That
hmm
last verse from Krishna is sarva dharma parityajya.
mm,
His last instruction, all dharma, which he went through a whole thing about dharma, different
mm,
modes of
hmm
nature and all
hmm
this stuff. All dharma, sarva dharma parityajya. Just give
hmm
it up
hmm
and give yourself to me, and I'll free you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. Ma suchaha. Don't worry. And that's so nice because that's just
Yeah.
something a friend would tell you.
Yeah, totally. Totally. It's like, I got you.
Yeah, I got you, bud.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
And so it's a very simple process and it's very personal, you know, that it's very
Yeah. The
personal.
most personal. Yeah.
Yeah, no need for anything but just to be aware of the self and then find that divine quality in all the things in your existence. As Arjuna
hmm
said to Krishna, how do we see you in all things? And Krishna
hmm
says, Rasoham apsukunte, I am the taste of water, I'm the light of the sun and the moon, I'm the fragrance of the earth. So
Mm.
beautiful.
I know. So, so beautiful. Yeah.
So your temple is here and
Yeah.
there. Well, the thing,
and everywhere. There's nowhere that isn't that. Yeah.
yeah, I saw your last video where you were giving that example of the wave.
Oh, that one. Yeah. Yeah.
Was that your
Yeah.
last one?
No, the last one was about actually the process of self-inquiry.
Oh, I didn't see that one.
Hmm. But
But
yeah,
that,
the wave one. Yeah.
yeah, the wave one is also in that category where you can, it's like probably the best analogy ever is a wave
Yeah, it
to the
is.
ocean.
Yeah.
So many
Mm,
things.
mm,
Thich Nhat Hanh said, a Zen Buddhist master, Thich Nhat
hmm
Hanh, he
hmm
said, self-realization is when the wave realizes it's the ocean.
Yeah.
Such a
hmm
lovely quote. But
hmm
at the same time, you can use that wave analogy in what we're discussing here because you can look at the wave and you can understand immediately that it's the whole ocean by enjoying the beauty of the wave.
Yeah. Yeah. It's our way in. It's our kind of
Yeah.
portal to that. Yeah.
Yeah. You see the beauty of the wave and you can
hmm
understand the ocean.
If you see beyond the form.
Yes. If you,
But yeah, you're right. You get attracted to the form, and then if you see beyond it, its essence, then you really see what it is.
yeah. So you can think of a flower, you can think of
Hmm
the sky, you can think of a
mm,
mountain, you can think of see your child, your friend, and you can see the beauty of it. And then
mm,
within it, divinity.
yeah.
So at some point, hopefully soon, hopefully sooner than later,
hmm
I see divinity in all
hmm
things right
And it's
now.
the very existence, isn't it? Because the beauty is in the existence. And so it's the very existence of all of those things that is this, that is the supreme
Yeah.
being.
Yeah, super lovely. So fortunate to have this philosophy in my hands,
Mm.
this experience to be able to have the book Gita, have these books 100 years ago. Well, actually, you might have it.
Yeah,
My
100 years ago, maybe.
maybe
200, probably not, right?
not
I'm not,
200.
yeah,
My
yeah.
wife, she was at an old bookstore up in Ojai, and she found this is the Bhagavad Gita by
Nice. What year is that?
Edwin
Edwin
Arnold.
Arnold.
And the print date on it is it's called The Song Celestial,
Hmm
an Englishman. And look at the printing of it date.
Wow, 1900. Yeah, look at that. So, I mean, this knowledge was coming over then, right? That
Yeah,
is kind
so
of amazing.
you could have gone to the
Yeah,
bookstore in
yeah,
1900 and gotten yourself
yeah,
a Bhagavad Gita
yeah,
125
yeah,
years ago.
yeah.
200 years ago, not so much.
Yeah, I think so. Not so much. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a great fortune. I'm
Yeah.
feeling very fortunate to have all this. And I'm
hmm
fortunate to meet with you and have this opportunity. You're in the
Yeah.
UK, 10
I
hours
know.
away.
Amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, and we just, hey, how you going?
Yeah.
Doing good, good.
I
Let's
mean,
forget
the
about
internet really is an expression of oneness on that level, isn't it?
yeah.
It's just completely, this is what it is. Like you're here, I'm there, but there's no separation at all.
Yeah, how lovely, huh? Okay, well, I think that's pretty good. What how
But
are we
I,
doing
I,
here?
I was just thinking, oh, should we end there? I
No,
was
keep talking.
thinking, I read Swamiji's translation, particularly of your verse,
Oh, okay, yeah, let's share it.
and which is, Arjun, I want to tell you the symptoms of the sense of devotion or oneness with me, the self, supreme reality, Krishna. The one who knows me as the supreme being, one without a second, understands that it is me or God who performs and experiences all actions. He knows me as the God of gods and of the whole manifestation, one with all the many kinds of beings in the world.
Mm,
Thus, my devotee remains free from his individual ego sense. He is kind, the lover of all that there is in manifestation. Having attained the sense of oneness with me, he attains knowledge as perfect peace. So I like that about his interpretation is that it points out that actually what these verses are helping us to do is let go of that ego sense because it's the
mm,
ego sense that really creates this sense of suffering, for a start, of
Mhm.
separation, of smallness, of inadequacy, of doubt,
Mhm.
of insecurity, all of the opposite things of the ones we've been talking about. It's the ego that says, I'm just this little thing that's going to
Mhm.
die, and I'm
Mhm.
under attack, and I'm suffering. And when you dissolve that and kind of lean back into your real home, your real abode, that's when the peace comes, because the cause of that which is opposite to peace, the cause of the suffering, is nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, it's so deep. It's so deep.
Mm.
I have a lot of Gitas, and I think I don't know. I think I have too many. But I appreciate both kinds of Gitas. Like I told you that I also study Winthrop Sargent's, which is just
Oh
like
yeah, yeah.
literal
That's the
word for word.
Sanskrit word for word kind of,
Yeah.
yeah.
But then also, I appreciate Gitas where the person who's translating it puts into the English the meaning of the verse
Yes, yeah.
because each Sanskrit word, even though it's very tight and terse in the verse, the
It
words have,
holds so much more. That's
yeah,
the
so
thing.
much
Mm.
more. If
Mhm.
you know the word yajña, there's
Yeah,
so much to
so much,
yajña.
so much.
It
Yeah.
doesn't actually mean
No,
sacrifice. You think
no,
that means
yes,
you
yeah.
cut someone's head
Yeah,
off and
yeah,
throw them down the
yeah.
stairs. It doesn't mean that.
Yeah, no, yeah.
And
I
so,
know, and it is, and it is the advantage of knowing the actual Sanskrit, which I can't claim really to have that advantage. But if, I've picked up quite a few of the words by now. But yeah, because like you say, that they hold and they convey directly a meaning that's so kind
yeah.
of beyond what our normal language can bring us to.
Yeah, English is really not a great language to convey spiritual thought. It's like
Mm,
blocks of wood. It's very rough, not a lot of depth in each word. Each word, like if you say God, you
yes,
say Lord, you say
yes,
controller, none of this
yeah,
really
no, yeah. Yeah.
conveys
Yeah,
a,
because that word controller, we will think, oh, I don't want to be controlled. But actually, really, what it should be giving is the sense of I can let go. I can surrender. I'm not doing this. I don't have to feel in control all the time. I'm
yeah.
being looked after. That's really what that word should really be conveying.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so it's complex to have a language that you're speaking in, reading in, conversing in, and it's not really
Mm,
conveying what the essence of the teaching is. But is everybody going to go study Sanskrit? I'm studying Sanskrit right now, and it is so hard.
yeah.
It's so complicated. Every syllable it can mean something. And
Mm,
you can just shove into the middle of it like an A, and it could change the entire meaning of the word in a
yeah.
different way. Whoever came up with that language is a
Yeah.
born
Actually,
genius.
Swamiji kind of didn't really, he didn't encourage us to really kind of get into it. He just said, it's so hard.
Oh, it's so hard. Yeah.
You don't, yeah. And the thing is, really, ultimately, all of these words, they're pointing to you, the being. And
Yeah.
that's what all of them are about. So we can also keep it really
Yeah.
simple in that way too.
Yeah. And if you're aware, I don't know if do you listen to other kind of like non-dualist speakers that are not
I have
specific.
done. Haven't much recently, but I've certainly gone through phases of listening to a few other people. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been part of the Hare Krishna thing forever,
Hmm.
kind of my whole life, but just the really in-depth, non-dual concepts have been fairly recent.
Mm.
Sam Harris has a great
Yes. Yeah. I
meditation
heard.
app.
Right. Yes, I have. I did a kind of trial month, I think, and
Oh yeah,
just
yeah.
kind
So
of
I paid for it. I
exploring
went
it
through the whole
and
thing.
right.
It's
Oh,
very
okay.
good,
Okay.
very good.
Hmm.
It kind of cuts to it. Well, he studied Tibetan Buddhism, which is
Yeah.
called
Yeah.
Gyogchen or Mahamudra, but
Yeah.
essentially it's cutting out all things but just straight meditation
Hmm.
on the being,
Mm.
which is kind of intense. I don't know that I
Hmm.
recommend it because
Hmm.
I did it and I was kind of a bit freaked out for a while. It's
You
like
need
too,
guidance. I think this is the thing with those, that the ones that seem most simple are often the ones that need most kind of
yeah.
steering and guidance with.
Yeah, it's a form of death because what you're doing is the very comfortable surroundings of the mind and the ego and all my things and all my world and my body and everything is perfect and all set up just the way I like
Hmm.
it. You are stepping out of it and looking at it and recognizing that it's all just nothing. And that's not an easy thing to
Yeah, and the problem is, I think, because the mind can only think in terms of it's me or it's nothing, the mind can't then understand the bliss of pure beingness. And
yeah.
so you really need to have that brought in and to be sitting in that for that process to then work in a way that's gentle and valuable.
Yeah. And so what you're saying is it's coming to the point I'm going way around the
Mm,
corner to say, which is that the Gita and this philosophy has that deep perspective of that all the elements of our life are very temporary and all the things we're putting on it is giving us misery and it's just a delusion and all this stuff which can be very difficult and uncomfortable. And then it's also the suhṛtam. It's the sweetness. It's not
mm.
just everything is nothing and you're just kind of sitting in a mess of void and with nothing and nobody.
Mm,
No,
mm,
in it, it's sweetness.
mm.
And that's incredible. So the non-dualism is beautiful. And, like there's a speaker, Rupert Spira. They don't
Yeah,
ever
yeah.
quote verses. They never talk about any
Not so
books
much,
or any,
yeah.
no, nothing. And that's okay because it can be distracting if you're just only reading verses, this, that, and you're not really digging into the essence of it. It
Mm,
could, otherwise now it's a religion. It's Hinduism,
mm,
basically. And so they very much are all you need. All you need is what you are. Everything comes when you recognize the true self.
hmm
Everything, all of it.
hmm
And that's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of love all different types of teachings. I can really love those really just clear pointings to the non-dual reality. But I
Yeah.
do think if you're going to be practicing for a long time, having a sense of devotion, not to something else, but just a sense of love
Yeah.
being brought into it is so helpful and keeps you from becoming just this kind of dry shell of a thing that
Sure.
that when you just negate everything but haven't really had the experience of what it is you actually are, or have
Yeah.
missed it, really. You have, but you've missed it.
Yeah, it's a recognition of not only that you are just being, but as being, you have qualities which are joy. You wish
Hmm.
to be happy and
Yeah.
peaceful. You wish to have a best friend. You have will, you have
Mm,
desire. It's not
mm,
that as being you're a void with nothing.
mm,
That's not fun. You
mm.
are God and yourself.
Yeah.
And if you look, wow, God's a beautiful artist.
Mm,
And so there must be within it that element of beauty,
yeah. And of play and of
of
joy
play. Yeah,
and of
play and
all of
joy.
it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm,
lovely. So lovely. So
mm.
lovely. Any other thoughts, friend?
No, I think we can leave that. Love, joy, play. That's a good place.
Okay, I'm going to stop the recording and then we
Yeah,
can keep chatting.
great.
Okay,
Bye.
everybody. Bye. How do I do that?